Thank you so much. And in the show, we're going to give you guys all the weekly updates from Hong Kong, political news, virus news, whatever you are interested in. And this week, we're going to talk about press freedom in Hong Kong. It has been a constant conversation here, and also we have talked about this topic in the previous streams as well. And this week, I'm really happy to invite co-founders of a digital media in Hong Kong. I'm just going to bring them in first, and then we will talk about this a little bit background information of why we're doing this stream today. And here's Nilk and also his co-worker Marcus. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. All right.
Hi.
So before I invite you guys and have you guys to join this chat, I'm just going to give our audience a little bit of brief information as to what happened recently, what happened in the last week in Hong Kong, and why are we talking about press freedom here. So just earlier this week, the police actually have set out this new rule for media representative or media workers, so to speak. So they changed one of their police regulations and changed the definition of media representative. They basically changed it to from people who would have a Hong Kong Journalists Association, which is one of our general journalist groups in Hong Kong. And they said that press passes by the HKJA or the photography associations, they will no longer recognize those people with only those passes. And they said that the other criteria is that they would only recognize workers who are from well-known and international media outlets. So say if you're digital media or student media groups in Hong Kong, you would not be recognized by the police. And of course, a lot of critics are saying that, this is really crucial because this is a further suppression of press freedom by the police and by the Hong Kong government. And that's why we're talking about this today. And of course, with the workers from digital media based in Hong Kong. So they created, Nilk and Marcus, they are working for this DB channel, which is a digital media in Hong Kong. So I just want to bring you guys in and we chat to talk about this whole ordeal about the new definition for Hong Kong media. So can you give us a little bit of background of, when did you guys find the DB channel and why did you start this digital media channel?
We actually started this channel from last October in 2019, and it was actually we started the channel right between the time of the movement, but like many people think that we made this channel, we made this media up because of the movement, but it's actually not really that case. But like it's really a coincidence, yeah. But like when we started that channel, like it was the only thing that we should focus on, because like by that time in Hong Kong, like only all the people only focus on, or maybe all the people in the world only focus in that
protest.
Movement. Yeah. And why we actually started this book, for the reason for us is because like in Hong Kong there's like various amount of media, but every media actually have some political basis on their side, like such as you saw for the conservative side and maybe the pro-democracy side. But there's not really a media which stands out or which helps to voice out the voice of we call the new voices, like that we cannot, like they are more focused on what Hong Kong are and the definition of Hong Kong people, that side. So for us, we actually wanted to voice out for these group of people, like they are like building up themselves and building up this gaining support to make them and they're actually transforming into the main part, the main voices in Hong Kong, but there's still no any media like try to voice out or try to back up for them. So we actually made this channel and trying to do this. Yeah.
Right. So where do you guys usually publish? Is it on social media? As far as I know, you guys have like Facebook and stuff, right?
Yeah, we actually mainly publish a thing on Facebook because like yeah, it's new media age. And
Mm-hmm.
because like Facebook is the most easiest way to get reach to most of the people in Hong Kong. Like actually all people nowadays use it. So in Hong
Mm-hmm.
Kong, so we use Facebook. We do have a website, but and then we actually started a website like months ago. But we actually like we started to use it more frequently because like we actually need to like build up that website. But mostly like every time we publish a new news on the website, we actually like posted that link on Facebook again to tell people yeah we have a new news story. So take a read like that. Yeah.
So I guess one thing that I do wanna add is that one of the new definition that the police have included in their so to say the definition for media workers is that they have to the organization has to register to get access to the government's news system. So are you guys registered on that list or are you not?
We are planning to be on that like
Yeah,
since we have actually planned that
for
since a
quite a
long time
while.
ago. Yeah,
Yes.
for quite a while. Yeah, and then that we yeah, but now on this point, no. Yeah.
It's like the application. I'll talk about that.
Yet.
We're in the process of applying. We actually have been applying before this thing happened, and it's been going for quite a while. And the application process is quite convoluted, for at least to say. And this happened, and
Right.
again, we're still in the process, and we're not sure if we actually will get to the point where we actually have access to the government system. So, well, we're working on it,
Can
but
you
we're not
right?
sure what's going to happen.
Mm. Can you let us know? I mean, obviously, I'm a freelance journalist, so I do work for organizations who have already got access to the government system. But
Hmm.
I didn't do the registration personally. But for you guys, what kind of like rules or kind of like a criteria or standard that you guys have to meet in order to be able to being granted access to the system? Is there a certain thing that you guys must achieve? For example, like how frequent you guys publish or things like that?
Yeah, I think it was for the past 3 months, at least every week there are 5 days which we have news. The news obviously has to attain a certain quality, and basically you have to prove to them that you are actually working as a proper news company, and at the same time your operations are smooth and everything is okay, so as to say.
And the
Mhm.
most important point is that for if you want to be inside the GIS system, the government system, you have to at least have two workers in your news media company. Like you need to have a editor and you need to have a press so at least two people. But so that's the reason why this become something nonsense because like many freelance journalists like you only have one people, and so it's suddenly like become you're actually killing all those freelance journalists. Yeah. We actually like didn't really acted much to this because like when long before they actually give like have this new arrangement, it's actually the new arrangement is actually what they're doing in the past few months. So yeah, they're just like making it it's sort of like they're actually making it written on the paper.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, like, to be completely honest, oppression against freedom of press has been happening since last year, pretty much. They have been coming up with all sorts of excuses. So, come to be completely honest, what they did on Tuesday was just like sealing the deal to make it official that okay, we're gonna start doing this officially. We're not gonna find any excuses. So to us, I mean, obviously, we're not happy about it for Lisa say, but we're not exactly that surprised because it has been happening for quite a while. So yeah, that's it. Well,
Oh,
during the protest, obviously, the cops weren't very nice to us, for the least to say. They kept saying that we were fake reporters and, protesters in disguise, blah, blah, blah. And then perhaps maybe 2 or 3 months ago, there was this one protest in the mall, and basically one of our journalists but he was fined because he was gathering around, so as to say. They're using this 599G article, which prohibits anyone from gathering groups of four or above to gather because in the name of what's the word? In the name of controlling COVID-19. But again, it has been happening for quite a while. No, sometimes they call us, fake journalists or fake reporters. Sometimes they just stop and search for no obvious reason. So yeah, it's just getting worse. Yeah.
For me, I actually really studied journalism in university. So yeah, so when I almost graduated, it was like when I was like in year three, around something like that, year three, year four, and then like I suddenly like it's not really suddenly pop up the idea of like making a new channel has been like for years in my brain, but then at that moment I was like, oh, I should do it. Like I'm almost graduated, so I think it's the possible it's just a possible time for me to like to try to achieve this thing. And then so yeah, and then like I actually like I asked many um some of my friends in my like or and some of my classmates and asked them like do you want to like start it? Yeah, but for you, it's actually like for this channel, like it seems like I'm the only one who actually really studied journalism. Yeah.
It's kind of weird because like in our channel there are people who study business, there are people who study IT, stuff like that. I am the one peculiar person because I am probably the only one who studies science and, funnily enough, cancer biomedicine. So it's kind of weird. But the thing is, like, before I started studying this, I have been taking photos for maybe 2 3 years, and I have been writing pieces every now and then. While I'm not formally trained in this, I guess in a sense like I still know-ish what I'm doing, I guess. So yeah. So the thing is like I'm fine with photos. I'm fine with the occasional writing, but most of the writing work it goes to him because he is the one who's formally trained and I'm not. And at the same time, sometimes there are news on science and stuff like that, and I get really excited, so I write that up, and it's fine.
I think it's actually like in even in professional media, not every specific journalist are studying journalism before when they get into the job. Like many people, like maybe they are agents or maybe they are really like, for example, um, like in the sports news, like it may be like football news. You don't actually have to study journalism to become a news reporter of football, and you can maybe you're just a footballer before. Like it's not actually really important to study. I won't say it's not important, but not really so important.
Essential.
Yeah, so essential for journalists to study journalism before. But on the other hand, like for us, when we are actually like building up this channel, like since last year to nowadays, like today we have actually some high school students joining our channel, become a journalist, and we are actually providing training for them. Because like in Hong Kong, it's so weird that before if you want to become a journalist, then you will have to, like people if they in high school they want to become a journalist, then they will pick journalism in university. But then it turns out like many people it's my experience, like many of my classmates when I'm studying journalism in university, and then they actually they just regret it, and then they just quit. Like, but after they graduate, they don't become a journalist. Like I think it's important to make these high school students have a chance to experience what what the job of a journalist like. Well, how was the experience was like. So we actually Yeah. So actually providing training and providing chances for those high school students to get experience of what you actually need to do and what you're doing for to become a journalist. And on the other hand, we yeah, and then we have some interns, and they are not really actually studying journalist. They're not really studying journalism, but they are studying different criteria, different categories like Marcus. We have some studying global relationship, and maybe some studying architecture, and but these we actually usually see these things like especially for global relationships when we were writing global news, and it's important for us to analyze to the readers like what's happening behind and tell them some background information. So if we only if all of the team of us only study journalism, then we cannot provide a full aspect, a full view of a news to the readers. We have to have some journalists which have different backgrounds and have different knowledge of it. Yeah.
So like basically, I mean, not to say like journalists don't understand science or anything like that, but there are technical terms and news in science that would otherwise be hard for people to understand if it weren't for people with science backgrounds or understanding of science to write up pieces on this. Like, I mean, I'll be completely honest, it's a lot easier to look at a piece of news compared to a science paper because there's a lot of science jargon, and when you're looking at on a science paper, there are things that people I mean, the scientists assume that you understand. And at least for me, I'm doing so-called translation work, obviously from English to Chinese, but at the same time from science to normal people. And it takes someone with actual understanding of science and not just journalism to do that job. So I know like there are complaints about people not being formally trained and therefore they don't know what they're doing. I'm not saying that I do a better job than formally trained journalists, but again, there are just like places or niches where you have to have someone else to help you out in writing. When I write, I obviously I have a biology background, so I understand chemistry and biology a little bit better. But when we're talking about climate, environment, or even astrophysics, sometimes I have to ask for help as well. So it's not that you the only way of being a journalist is to be like formally trained. I mean, yes, that is good, definitely, but there are still parts where you will need help from other people. So at least that's what I think.
It's actually like we there won't be any there won't we won't say there will be no concern, there will be no worries. Yeah, there must be. Uh, what we could do is try to like be careful. Yeah, try to be 100% careful to the environment on when we actually going up to report a protest, and that's what we could do. Like it's actually nonsense. Like we shouldn't have to do this. Like in a free speech world, we can just like take a camera and then like film it, shoot it, and then we report to all the people like what this is what happening. Like for us, we have two journalists now in Belarus covering what's happening in Belarus, and then from what they yeah, and then from what they told us back, we feel like that Hong Kong is now going to the steps. They like following the steps of Belarus.
Okay.
We are actually going that way. Yeah, it's actually like it's quite no. I can't say it's a sad thing already. I think it's a tragedy for Hong Kong to become today to become like this. Like they actually like pressing the freedom of speech and even the freedom of news too. Yeah.
Um, personally, um, personally, I have no intention to back down. I will continue to report and I will continue to do whatever I have been doing. The thing is, like, when we're dealing with protests, personally, let's not get into like not still report, but let's not get too close to the police because the thing is like more often than not sometimes like there are a lot of like journalists and reporters around and personally I like to keep my distance because it helps me personally to see what's happening better and while I mean choice of words it's important definitely because there are words there that well in even in a free speech world it should not be used or it should be carefully used at for least to say but yeah that is the kind of careful word we're meaning for us it is our job to report whatever is happening so by careful we do not mean by censoring and we do not have the intention personally at least I do not have the intention to cherry pick words or make it into a narrative that fits the governmental narrative. I for being careful, I just mean doing the right thing, doing what we should be doing.
Um, what I think is actually uh like I will like tell them like just yeah really like for me it's like you don't actually have to get so close to report a thing like I'm pretty sure that this will happen in the future times like many reporters are being trapped in a song and then being like investigate or whatever you don't have to be the one who was being investigated by the police to tell the people that yeah police is actually investigating the reporters they are like trapping the reporters you don't actually have to be that reporter you can be the one outside of the zone and then report to people that they are actually now doing the same thing there's actually many ways to report and because like once we become journalists we don't want to be the main character we always like just want to stand aside and then report the whole thing yeah So yeah, I will say we will try to avoid to become that main character. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll try to be like behind the scenes. We will try to. I mean, the thing about being a reporter is that personally, I think that you should be not away from the action, but not in the action at least. You're standing on the side. You're looking. You're observing. You're reporting. You shouldn't be the focus of whatever's happening. That's at least what I personally think. Yeah, I know. Yeah, thank you so much for
Thank you
inviting
so much.
us. Hmm. Hmm. Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you.